In the city of Lagos, inside Nigeria, lived a man named Emeka. This man called Emeka was 32 years old and very, very successful in his job at a big company. He wore smart suits every time, and he drove a shiny car and lived in a very nice apartment. People looked up to him because he worked hard and achieved many things in his life. But despite all this, Emeka had a big problem that made him very unhappy. What is this problem? He always liked to have sex. Every night, as the city lights began to twinkle, Emeka felt a strong urge that he couldn't ignore. Having sex was the only thing in his mind. He felt very lonely and thought that the only way to feel better was to have someone to spend the night with. This made him wander the streets, looking for someone to take home. Emeka knew it wasn't the best way to live, but he didn't know how to stop. One Friday night, after a long week at work, Emeka felt especially alone. He decided to drive through the city, hoping to find someone who would spend time with him. That's when he saw Ada. Ada was different from the others. She had a kind smile and gentle eyes that seemed to tell a story of their own. Emeka approached Ada and they started talking. Ada was funny and smart, and soon Emeka felt a connection he hadn't felt in a long time. They laughed together, shared stories about their childhoods, and talked about their dreams. For once, Emeka didn't feel lonely because of his urges, but because he truly enjoyed Ada's company. As the night grew deeper, Emeka realized that he didn't want the night to end in the usual way. He felt a real friendship forming, something he hadn't expected. Ada seemed to understand him in a way others hadn't. For the first time, Emeka invited someone over not because of his usual desires, but because he didn't want to say goodbye to a new friend. As they sat in his living room, Emeka shared with Ada how he struggled every night. Ada listened carefully, her face showing no judgment, only kindness. She talked to him about understanding himself better and finding help to overcome his challenges. Emeka felt a weight lift off his shoulders as he talked. He realized that this night could be the beginning of a change for him, a change for the better. As the clock struck midnight, Emeka and Ada continued talking, laughing, and sharing parts of their lives that they rarely told others. It was an unforgettable night, but not for the reasons Emeka had expected when he first approached Ada. This night was unforgettable because it was the start of Emeka seeing a new path for himself, one where he didn't have to feel alone anymore. The story of Emeka's journey didn't end there, but it was a beginning of friendship, of healing, and of hope. And as the first light of dawn crept through the curtains, Emeka knew that this night was truly different. It was a night that could change his life forever. As the sun began to rise, casting golden hues across the room, Emeka and Ada remained deep in conversation. They had spent hours sharing their deepest thoughts and laughing together, and it felt as if they had known each other for years. Emeka, who had always viewed his nightly escapades as a way to escape his loneliness, now found himself facing the possibility of genuine companionship. Ada, seeing the change in Emeka's demeanor, gently suggested, "Maybe you could talk to someone about this, Emeka, someone professional who can help you understand why you feel this way and how to manage it." Her voice was soft but filled with concern. Emeka nodded slowly. The idea of seeking help had crossed his mind before, but he had never taken it seriously. Now, sitting with Ada, he felt a surge of hope. Perhaps he didn't have to fight his battles alone. Perhaps there was a way to fill the emptiness he felt inside with something lasting, something real. "I think I will," Emeka said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I don't want to keep living like this. I want to change." Ada smiled warmly, her eyes twinkling with encouragement. "That's a great decision, Emeka. And remember, change doesn't happen overnight. Be patient with yourself." As the morning unfolded, Emeka realized that he didn't want Ada to leave just yet. He invited her to join him for breakfast. Together, they walked to a nearby cafe, enjoying the fresh morning air and the quiet streets of Lagos, waking up to a new day. Sitting at a small table, they continued their conversation. Emeka found himself sharing more about his life, not just his struggles, but also his dreams and aspirations. Ada listened intently, her presence comforting. It was during this simple breakfast that Emeka felt something shift within him. The burden of his nightly pursuits seemed less heavy, the path ahead clearer. He wasn't sure what the future held, but for the first time in a long time he was looking forward to finding out. As they parted ways later that morning, Ada gave Emeka a reassuring hug. "You've got this, Emeka. Just take it one step at a time." Watching Ada walk away, Emeka felt a sense of gratitude wash over him. He was thankful for the night that had brought them together, for the friendship that had blossomed so unexpectedly, and for the new journey he was about to embark on, a journey towards healing and self-discovery. Back in his apartment, Emeka picked up his phone and searched for therapists in Lagos. Making that call felt like the hardest step, but he was ready. He was ready to face his struggles, to build healthier relationships, and to be a better version of himself. As he dialed the number, Emeka realized that this unforgettable one-night stand with Ada was just the beginning of a new chapter in his life, one filled with hope and the promise of new beginnings. And for the first time in a very long time, Emeka felt not only hopeful but also not alone. Emeka held his breath as the phone rang, his heart thumping in his chest. It was a moment filled with mixed emotions, fear of the unknown, hope for a brighter future, and a deep sense of vulnerability. When a gentle voice answered on the other end, Emeka found himself momentarily lost for words. "Hello, this is Dr. Ngozi. How can I help you?" the voice said, warm and inviting. Emeka cleared his throat, gathering his courage. "Hello, Dr. Ngozi. My name is Emeka. I think I need help," he managed to say, his voice shaking slightly. Dr. Ngozi's response was calm and reassuring. "Thank you for reaching out, Emeka. What's on your mind?" As Emeka explained his struggles, Dr. Ngozi listened without interruption, providing a safe space for him to open up. By the time he finished, Emeka felt a weight lifted off his shoulders. Just admitting his problems to someone felt like a step forward. "We can definitely work on these issues together, Emeka, Doctor," Ngozi said after a thoughtful pause. "Would you like to schedule an appointment to come in and talk?" "Yes, I would," Emeka replied, a sense of relief washing over him. They set a date and time for their first session, and Emeka hung up the phone feeling like he had just taken the first real step toward changing his life. In the days leading up to his appointment, Emeka often thought about Ada and the night they had spent talking. She had sparked something within him, a desire not just to seek temporary companionship but to heal and grow. He texted her to say thank you, telling her about his call to the therapist. Ada's reply was swift and supportive, filling Emeka with warmth and gratitude. The morning of his appointment, Emeka felt nervous, but also strangely excited. He dressed carefully, choosing an outfit that made him feel confident and respectful. As he drove to Dr. Ngozi's office, he reflected on how long he had avoided facing his issues, always masking his loneliness with fleeting encounters. Sitting in the waiting room, Emeka's hands trembled slightly. He took deep breaths, trying to calm his nerves. When Dr. Ngozi finally called him in, Emeka stood up, his legs feeling a bit wobbly, but propelled forward by a newfound resolve. Dr. Ngozi's office was a cozy space with soft lighting and comfortable chairs. Emeka took a seat across from her, and as she smiled encouragingly, he felt a sense of peace. "Let's start at the beginning, Emeka, Doctor," and Ngozi suggested gently. And so he began to talk. He talked about his childhood, his successes, and his nightly struggles. With each word, the story of his life unfolded, not just the external successes, but the internal battles, the loneliness, and the longing for connection. This was just the beginning of Emeka's journey toward understanding and healing, a journey marked not by loneliness but by the presence of people like Ada and Dr. Ngozi, who walked alongside him. Emeka was learning that reaching out was not a sign of weakness, but of strength, and each step forward was a step toward a new, hopeful horizon.